Good morning. I'm Dan DeBonis, Acquisitions Editor for Psychology, and today I'm joined in the office by Dr. Mark Gluck, Professor of Neuroscience at the Center for Molecular and Behavioral Neuroscience at Rutgers University, Newark. And we're going to talk a little bit about the forthcoming second edition of his book, Learning and Memory from Brain and Behavior, co-authored with Catherine Myers and Eddie Mercado. So Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit of the story of this book.
The book emerged a number of years ago when we looked out at how our field was being taught at the undergraduate level, and we were just very dissatisfied for two reasons. One is the field has moved incredibly fast in the last 5, 10, 15 years, and in particular it's moved to integrate across animal and human studies, across memory and learning, and across experimental and clinical studies. So all three of these dimensions are really all brought together in current research. And textbooks that have been used in the past tend to balkanize the field. They tend to focus on one aspect, animal conditioning or human memory, and in that way they really didn't see the big picture. And we wanted to be able to convey the big picture, the excitement of current research. And we also wanted to do it in a way that was engaging. Most of the textbooks that we read seemed dry. They were boring to us, and we assumed they had to be boring to students. And we wanted to write a textbook that was written with sort of an engaging and a light tone, something that made the students want to read each chapter and see how the material is going to relate to their everyday life.
Yeah, and talk a little bit more about why to teach learning and memory together.
Because it's really all one field now, and
Yeah.
what we know about learning is how we acquire new information, memory is the storage. The traditional reason they were separated is because the learning was mostly associated with animal research and the human with and the memory with human research.
Yeah.
And now it's all together. They're animal and human research together, and as such, learning and memory really have come back together. And textbooks that don't bring them back together are really about 30 years out of date.
Yeah, I agree. So tell us about the changes to the second edition. You know, what's exciting?
The big change was a decision to reorganize the book in a modular fashion, and we did this to respond to a lot of the instructors who said they either wanted to do animal learning and conditioning first and then move up to memory, or they wanted to start with memory, which was the more relevant to the students, the more approachable, and then move to the animal learning. And one of the reasons to go from memory to learning is that the neuroscience for the learning parts, although the behavior is often the simplest, associative learning and conditioning, what we know about the biology is deeper and richer. So depending on someone's orientation, they like to go one direction or the other, and we felt that we didn't need to make a choice. We could actually present them in a modular fashion that allowed people to start with some common introductory chapters and then diverge either to an animal learning and then a human memory, or a memory and then to a learning, and wind up at the end of the book with some common integrative chapters.
Yeah, I think we found that people use this for a lot of different courses in learning, memory, and neurobiology, and so having that module learning that they can do first or memory that they can do first, that flexibility I think really makes the book even more appealing.
And I think it's the heterogeneity of the field, the diversity of the topics that are covered, the diversity of the backgrounds of the people who are teaching the course that really makes it important for the book to be modular so as to allow there to be a variety of ways of teaching this.
Yeah, the art program was such a hallmark of the first edition. Are there going to be any changes to the second edition?
I think it's really more of the same and better. I mean, one of the other things, probably the third thing that disappointed us about a lot of the books that were out there is because it was an upper level textbook, people tended to go for a less expensive black and white line drawings, copying things from various other places. And we felt that we needed to have full color because we needed to explain the brain imaging, we needed to show the brain anatomy, and you couldn't really do this topic if you tried to do it in black and white. So what we really wanted was a sort of a middle upper level course, a textbook, but one which had the production values of an introductory textbook. And I think that's what we very much got.
Absolutely. So tell us, the first edition's been out for a few years now. What are instructors saying? What have you heard about from people that have used it?
Well, the most encouraging feedback I got was at the Society for Neuroscience, where one woman came up to me and she says, I have to thank you for helping my career. She said, I used to get average to below average teacher ratings. She says, then I switched to your book and suddenly I'm one of the highest rated teachers in the department. She says, and I haven't changed at all. She says, the only thing is the book. The students love the book, they love to read it, they understand it at a level they never did before. She says, and I'm getting all the credit for it, so thank you.
Doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
I was going to tell one other story, also at the Society for Neuroscience. There's an instructor from Dominican University, which is outside Chicago, who used the book and loved it, and there was this teaching workshop where he gave everyone this brief review saying how great Mark's book is. And as a result of that, all through the rest of the conference, we had people coming by the booth saying, "Oh, we want to see your learning and memory book. We just hear phenomenal things about it." I thought that was a wonderful compliment.
That was very exciting. We're hoping to get him more involved in some of the supplements.
Yep.
We think because people come from so many different backgrounds, many people are a little concerned about teaching material they may not be comfortable with. And so one of the ways in which we've addressed that is to try to have an extra special supplements package, a full range of PowerPoint presentations, classroom exercises. So our hope is that we really have not just but the textbook is at the center of really of a broader range of teaching materials that allow someone to go into the classroom and be able to have sort of everything at their fingertips to provide a full pedagogical experience for the students.
Absolutely. Well, great.
Thank
Mark,
you.
thanks very much for taking time
My
and coming in
pleasure.
to join us.
My pleasure.